Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about a few different things that are very exciting for me. So the first and main thing is that I started taking new antidepressants in early February, and I recently realized that they're actually working. I wanted to talk about what that feels like, because I honestly thought it would never happen. So some background that I've mentioned briefly in other videos, I started taking antidepressants about 6.5 years ago now, right before I dropped out of college, and so before this one I'm on right now, I've tried 5 others. 2 of them had side effects and did nothing else, and the others had no effects whatsoever. The new prescription is a drug called duloxetine, which is an SNRI, and I had previously taken another SNRI, which is called desvenlafaxine. Probably butchered the pronunciation of that, but anyway. I took that for 3 months, and it did literally nothing. Um, but around the time of recording my last video, I gradually became aware of a bunch of different ways in which I just felt much better than I had been, and eventually realized it was most likely the antidepressant working. Um, and I wanted to talk about the specific ways because obviously, when I've been trying antidepressants for years, I didn't really have any idea what I was looking for. I was very sure that none of them were working, and I still am sure that none of them were working when I was taking them. But at the same time, I was like, I don't know what it feels like to not be depressed, or how exactly I'm expecting to feel different when an antidepressant is to some extent reducing my depression. So I wanted to talk about that. So the first thing I noticed is that it was just much easier to interact with my family. So all of my social anxiety is still there. Interacting with other people, it's definitely no easier. And interacting with my family, I still have those anxieties. They're still there. It's not different. It's not less. But whether it's true or not, it feels like people see me as more personable. Um, and it's just like I'm able to be more patient and mindful. And like people still say things that hurt my feelings, make me feel bad, whether they should or not, whether I'm being hypersensitive or not. That stuff still happens, and it still makes me feel bad. But I'm just able to compartmentalize it more and just respond more calmly and let it go, change the subject. It's not as big of a deal, and though it still you know gives me plenty of stuff to worry about in my um, free time when I'm not talking to people, the interactions themselves are just much easier. It's much easier for me to, just continue to act reasonably. And that tends to make the other person act more reasonably as well. So it just feels like interactions with my family are a lot easier. And so, yeah, I really think that's just because of feeling less depressed, which might sound weird, but it's so much easier to just not make an immediate issue out of things, or to immediately feel really terrible when you're not just constantly already feeling really terrible. And like I said, I still have plenty of things that I feel bad about, and low self-esteem and all that. It's not like it magically fix all of that, but it's just much easier to deal with stuff like that. So that's awesome. The second thing I noticed is that I have way more mental energy. I reduced the dose of the mirtazapine I've been taking, which was another thing that was supposed to be an antidepressant. It didn't help me for depression, but it has been helping me sleep. But since we decided to add another drug, we started lowering the dose of the mirtazapine. So I've been sleeping less, which is the point I'm getting to here, is that my physical energy has been a bit lower, but at the same time, my mental energy has been way higher. Um, I'm just much more consistently able to work on and think about things that are important to me and important for making progress. And yeah, just whether it's writing or writing music, or stuff related to AvPD, like this channel and all that kind of stuff, just much easier to think about stuff and get stuff done. And it's just like I'm getting up and I'm doing things with my day, which for the past few years has rarely been the case, at least consistently. And I just generally, my bad days are much more palatable to me with what I'm able to get done, and my good days are pretty awesome. So yeah, really happy about that as well. And the third thing I wanted to mention is at some point, something made me think about suicide. I don't remember what it was exactly. But when that happened, I realized that my suicidal thoughts had pretty much vanished, um, which was really bizarre to notice because um, for the past few years I've had them pretty much constantly, like sort of hourly, just as a check-in sort of thing. My brain would just insert something about suicide, and I would go, "Yep, still feeling suicidal. Still wish I was dead." Um, and at this point, those thoughts don't occur to me unless something brings it to my attention, um, which is just fantastic. And obviously, when it did come to my attention again, I thought about it and I was like, wow, I actually don't want to die. I actually want to be alive right now. I actually have things I want to do, um, even if it's not, super specific things. Um, I, my existence feels like it has some semblance of purpose and happiness, which kind of makes me want to cry saying that because it's just a pretty new thing for me. But yeah, it's really awesome. So I just want to talk about those things because I'm not sure, but I think it might have helped me press through more consistently with trying stuff like antidepressants years ago, because obviously I took multiple years of breaks because, like I said, I've tried 6 in total in 6.5 years, about 3 months apiece. You do the math. About 3/4 of the time I was not trying anything because it's extremely difficult to make yourself go through all the anxiety, all the stress of feeling like people think this is supposed to fix you and then it doesn't do anything and you just feel terrible, like you've let yourself down and everybody else, and it's so much work. And I think you guys know what I mean if you've been there before. But I just think it would have been helpful to me to know specific things that people noticed that were extremely depressed and feeling extremely suicidal, and then they took an antidepressant and it actually helped them. And at the same time, my mood has been improving over the months before I took this antidepressant. So I'm certainly not going to try to tell you antidepressants will fix everything, or that was everything for me, or for all I know, it may be doing literally nothing and I'm just feeling better. I don't know. But regardless of what did it, those are things that you might actually notice as you feel less depressed, and it really is worth it. So in whatever ways you can keep trying, I really encourage you to do that if you're having a hard time now or later or whenever. So yeah, that was the main thing I wanted to talk about in this video. Just, how much easier it is for me to forgive myself and to keep pushing to fight my anxiety when feeling less depressed. And like I said, obviously my anxiety is exactly the same. But I'm so ready to do something about it. And so there's two other things I wanted to briefly talk about on that subject. The first thing is that I have a move date. So on June the 1st, I'm going to be leaving my mom's house and living on my own for the first time in my life. Because, I was in a college dorm with a friend for a few months. That doesn't exactly count. I will be entirely on my own. I won't be in a dorm, and I am super fucking excited. I've been figuring out how I'm going to decorate and stuff, and you may remember if you've seen some of my earlier videos, I filmed in my bedroom for a while. That is my bedroom. That is what my bedroom has always looked like. The literal bare blue walls, yeah. I never decorated anything, and I thought it was because I didn't enjoy decoration, and it was stupid, and I should just have a plain utilitarian room and call it a day. I have recently realized that that is not true. I actually really like decorating, and that shouldn't be surprising because I have things that I like, and so I like to display those things and look at them and think about them and feel happy. But, you know, it's just another one of those AvPD things. I was so self-conscious of what my parents would think of decorations I put up, or what my brother might joke about them, or whatever, that I was just like, nah, you know, just keep the bare walls. And I convinced myself that it was because I didn't like decorating, and I didn't see the point. But it really bothered my roommate in college, too. He just wanted me to put something behind my bed on the wall so bad, and I refused. But I'm not refusing anymore. I'm gonna decorate, and I'm super excited about that. And I've been figuring out a whole bunch of stuff like that. And yeah, so June 1st is the date, and I am more excited than I've been for anything in my entire life. So yeah, we'll talk about that more as it approaches, or as it's here, or whatever. But anyway, the one other thing I wanted to mention is that, just very briefly, I mentioned in my last video, I was talking about how I hadn't gotten a response from the therapy place I was looking at. Well, they responded within somewhere between 12 to 24 hours of me posting that video, which was a weird coincidence. But yeah, they did respond, so I'm now on their wait list. Their individual therapy is on a rather long wait list, 6 to 12 months, I think. Their group skills is on a shorter wait list, so I might be able to join it starting in June. And I'm still not certain whether I'm going to. I really want to try to make myself do it, but at the same time, I'm not certain. I think it might still be online. And like I've talked about, I really don't see the point in doing the online stuff. Even if it is online, I will try to make myself give it a shot anyway. But I'm really hoping that it's in person. But anyway, we will see about that soon. But the one other thing in that avenue that I just wanted to mention again briefly is I talked about how I was, you know, sort of vaguely thinking about trying to start my own support group for socially anxious people. And I've been doing a lot more thinking about that, and researching and planning and stuff, because basically I'm going to make it happen. I'm really determined that I'm going to give it a shot, because even if it turns out that I like this group skills thing enough, even if it is in person, it's not, it's clearly not going to be the sort of thing where people just sort of, you know, have actual conversations with each other. It's going to be a teacher talking, and then occasionally some students trying some weird conversational skills and shit with each other, and it's going to be awkward. It's probably going to make people more anxious rather than less anxious. Of course, I should be clear, this is a DBT skills group that is not just for socially anxious people. And my understanding is a lot of people with cluster B personality disorders tend to benefit from DBT, so it's definitely not an AvPD club or anything like that. And the thing I want to start is not going to be either, because it's going to be for anyone who's dealing with social anxiety. It's not something where you have to have AvPD. But anyway, I'm really determined to do that, because I think it will be very helpful to people to just have a thing that does not involve doctors, which is just normal but super socially anxious people getting together and trying to figure out together how to be less anxious, and what the benefits of that could be. You know, the benefits of interacting with other human beings, which is something I haven't done in a while, as I've said many times, but we're going to change that very soon here. I'm going to try really hard to anyway. You know, like I said, all my anxiety is still there. It's still hard to go to the fucking mailbox and worry that people are looking at me, but I'm about to move out on my own, and I'm going to make myself deal with it, and I'm hoping at around the same time I will be able to start my own group, and I have some ideas for how I might be able to find people, and yeah, anyway, we're going to give this thing a shot, is what I'm getting at here. But yeah, anyway, I think that's about all I have to say for now. This video ended up a little longer than I thought it would, but yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys, and I will talk to you again soon.